Hi, I'm from Sophos Support, and today I'll show you how to set up the new Email Monitoring System, or EMS for short. I'll walk you through the steps in both Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. The EMS receives journaled copies of messages that may have passed existing security checks and have been delivered to end users. It's designed for monitoring and reporting only, and no action is taken on the messages. The EMS scans inbound and outbound emails, logs the result, and generates detailed reports in Sophos Central for you to review, making it a good tool for testing the benefits of Sophos Email Advanced without changing your existing mail flow, additional reporting, or simply improving MDR investigations. Manual email clawback is also supported for Microsoft 365 environments. In this tech vid, I'll show you how to add and verify your domain in Sophos Email. Then, I'll configure the EMS settings in Microsoft 365, followed by Google Workspace. Lastly, once configured, I'll show you how to view messages. Before starting, ensure you have admin access to Sophos Central, access to Exchange Online Admin or Google Workspace Admin, and a DNS manager. You'll need to determine if you wish to scan inbound and/or outbound emails. Lastly, make sure you've configured the mailboxes for your domain. Refer to the documentation linked in the description for more details. Let's get started. In Sophos Central, first verify your domain. Navigate to My Products, Email Protection, Settings, then EMS Domain Settings Status. Click Set up domains for EMS. Again, if you haven't synchronized your mailboxes, make sure to do so before proceeding. Refer to the documentation linked in the description for more details. Enter the domain you wish to monitor, then click Verify Domain Ownership. Copy the TXT value. Switch over to your DNS manager to create the new record. Then click Verify. Note, it can take some time for your DNS records to propagate, so try again after a few minutes if the first attempt is unsuccessful. Next, select if you wish to scan for inbound or both inbound and outbound emails. In my case, I'll choose inbound and outbound. Select the type of journal source IP range. In this example, I'll select Microsoft Office 365. If you're using Google Workspace, select Google Apps Gmail. Lastly, if you have any third-party systems that receive email which do not pass through Microsoft or Google, add their source IPs and/or networks in the Custom Gateway section. Once done, click Save. You've now verified your domain. Next, configure the EMS settings in Microsoft 365. If you're using Google Workspace, skip ahead to the relevant section using the video chapters or listed timestamps. In Sophos Central, navigate to My Products, Email Protection, Settings, then EMS Domain Settings Status. Click Configure External Dependencies. Then, copy the provided email addresses and save them for later. These unique email addresses are used for journal and undeliverable journal reports. Next, sign into Microsoft Purview. Navigate to Settings, Data Lifecycle Management, Exchange Legacy. Under Send Undeliverable Journal Reports to, enter the email address for the undeliverable journal reports that was copied earlier. Note, only set this address if the existing undeliverable journal report section is empty. Next, configure the journaling rules. Go to Solutions, Data Lifecycle Management, Exchange Legacy, Journal Rules. Then click New Rule. Under Send Journal Reports to, enter the email address copied from Sophos Central earlier. Then give it a name. In Journal Messages Sent or Received From, select Everyone if all domains are onboarded in Sophos EMS. Alternatively, you can select specific users, groups, or domains. Select External Messages Only for the type of message to journal, then click Next. Now, review the settings, and if you're satisfied, click Submit. The journal rule for Microsoft 365 has now been created. Now, if you have an existing third-party email security solution, you need to take a few additional steps depending on its configuration. I'll start with the steps for gateway-based solutions. For Mailflow-based security systems, skip ahead to the next section using the video chapters or timestamps. For gateway-based solutions, verify that the IP addresses and/or ranges are added from the first step of this tech vid. Go to Microsoft EAC and navigate to Mailflow, Connectors, and select Add a Connector. In Connection From, select Partner Organization and click Next. Then enter a name. Ensure Turn It On is selected and click Next. Then select by verifying that the IP address of the sending server matches one of the following IP addresses which belong to your partner organization. Add the inbound delivery IP addresses and click Next. Then choose Reject Email Messages if they aren't sent over TLS, only if your email security solution sends all emails to Microsoft over TLS. Click Next. Review the connector settings and click Create Connector. Then click Done. Finally, sign in to Microsoft Defender and add the skip listing. Navigate to Email and Collaboration, Policies and Rules, Threat Policies, then Enhanced Filtering. Select the connector you created and choose Skip these IP addresses that are associated with the connector. Then add the inbound delivery IP addresses. Lastly, in Apply to these users, select Apply to Entire Organization and click Save. The transport rule is now configured and M365 configuration is complete. If your third party uses a Mailflow-based solution, you need to configure the inbound and outbound transport rules. In this example, I'll create an inbound transport rule. In Sophos Central, go to My Products, Email Protection, Settings, then EMS Domain Settings, Status. Next, select your domain and click Configure External Dependencies. Ensure that you're in the M365 tab. Under My Email Security is based on M365 Mailflow. Prepare the IP addresses or IP ranges from your email security solution. Next, turn on Enable M365 Mailflow configuration and copy the values of header name and header value for later use. Then click Save. Next, sign into Microsoft EAC and create the transport rule. Navigate to Mailflow, Rules, and click Add a Rule. Then select Create a New Rule. Next, enter a name for the transport rule. Under Apply this rule if, select the recipient and is external internal. In my case, I'll choose inside the organization. To create an outbound rule, select outside the organization instead. Then click Save. Next, click the plus icon to add a second condition. Again, since I'm creating an inbound rule, I'll select the recipient. Alternatively, set this to the sender for outbound rules. Then select Domain Is. Add the domain used by your email security solution and click Save. Next, I'll add a third condition. Select the sender and IP address is in any of these ranges or exactly matches. Then add the respective delivery IP addresses used by your email security solution and click Save. Under Do the Following, select Modify the Message Properties and set a message header. Then enter the header name and value that were copied earlier. Click Next. In Set Rule settings, make sure that Rule Mode is set to Enforce and Match Sender Address in Message is set to Header. Click Next, review the transport rule settings, and click Finish. Then, select the transport rule and turn it on. Click Edit Rule Settings. Set the priority to 0 since this is an inbound rule. For an outbound rule, set the priority to 1. Then click Save. Finally, click Done. The transport rule is now configured and M365 configuration is complete. Repeat these steps if you are monitoring outbound emails with EMS. For Google Workspace, create the necessary settings for your account. In Sophos Central, go to My Products, Email Protection, Settings, then EMS Domain Settings Status. Next, select your domain and click Configure External Dependencies. Then click the Google tab. Copy the provided email address and save it for later. This email address is the journal destination address. Next, create the journal rules. In this example, I'll create this for inbound and outbound emails. Note, if you're creating an inbound or outbound only rule, the steps are similar, but refer to the relevant documentation linked in the description for more information. Sign into your Google Admin Console, go to Apps, Google Workspace, then Gmail. Click Routing. If you haven't configured a rule yet, click Configure. If you have, then click Add Another Rule, which is what I'll do. On the Add Setting dialog, enter a description for the journal rule. Next, in Email Messages to Effect, select the directions you want to monitor. Here, I'll select Inbound and Outbound. For the above types of messages, do the following. Ensure Modify Message is selected. Under Headers, select Add X GM Original to Header. Then in Also Deliver To, choose Add More Recipients. Click Add, then select Advanced. Next, in Envelope Recipient, select Change Envelope Recipient, then enter the email address of the envelope recipient from Sophos Central in the first step. In Spam and Delivery options, deselect Do Not Deliver Spam to this recipient and make sure Suppress Bounces from this recipient is selected. Next, in Headers, make sure the following headers are selected. Then click Save. In Encryption, Onward Delivery Only, select Require Secure Transport, TLS. Lastly, click Show Options. Ensure users and groups are selected, and click Save. Note, these changes can take up to 24 hours to take effect. You can track changes in your Google Workspace admin audit log. If you have a third-party email security solution, you must also configure the inbound gateway as a last step. Navigate back to the Gmail menu. Click Spam, Phishing, and Malware. In Inbound Gateway, click the Edit icon and turn on the Inbound Gateway setting. Then, enter the inbound delivery IP addresses where mail is delivered to Google. Finally, click Save. You've now created the journal rule for Google Workspace. With the EMS now configured, any emails received by Sophos will start to appear under the Message History report, along with any actions that would have been taken if you were using Sophos Central Email Advanced. As mentioned earlier, EMS does support email clawback for Microsoft environments, which you can optionally configure to pull emails from user inboxes after review. For detailed steps on setting this up, refer to the documentation in the description. And that completes the configuration of the Sophos email monitoring system. I hope you found this useful. Relevant documentation for this tech vid can be found in the video description. We've also linked the product page where you can learn how Sophos email security keeps your inbox protected. Go to the Sophos community to engage with Sophos experts and have your questions answered. And visit Sophos Tech Vids to learn more helpful tips and get the most out of your products.